Welcome back to the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Blondin. This is the Sports Betting Square podcast where you, the average bettor, gets an opportunity to follow along with another bettor, that's me, to look at this week's action in the NFL. This podcast is going to focus on the Thursday night game between the Arizona Cardinals hosting the Seattle Seahawks and all the bets, prop bets, same game parlays that we like for that matchup. Also take a quick look back at the NFL Week 3 and some of the storylines that came out of there, some of the bad beats, some of the wins, and even some CFL rule changes that I want to touch upon. So follow the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast at Overrated EXPER2, Overrated EXPER2. This is one of two podcasts we'll launch this week. Either Friday or Saturday morning, we'll launch the second podcast that will cover all of the Sunday action with props and picks against the spread. So tune in for that or keep an eye out for that. Subscribe to the podcast. And I'll repeat myself that this podcast, if you haven't joined us before, is sports betting or sports topics. It is a football heavy currently, but it's not exclusive to football as hockey comes into play, soccer, basketball, MMA. You can find a podcast that we put out that covers all the betting needs for those various sports. So stay tuned, and here we go. So I don't know about you, but this weekend, Week 3 in the NFL, beyond Week 3 in the NFL, EPL soccer, Italian soccer, college football, baseball, I got smacked. I got beaten down. I know you've experienced this many times, the sports bettors out there, with nothing just goes your way. I can't tell you how many times this weekend I was one shot on target away from cashing in. 20 minutes go by and nobody is sniffing a shot on target. College football, like just an example, Arkansas up on Memphis, and I needed Arkansas to win a parlay I had going. They're up, getting into field goal range. They're down by a point, getting into field goal range. And with under a minute to go, fumble, turnover, game over. That's my luck and how it went. I had California and who were they playing? Who they have? Utah. Was it Utah? That game to go over 40 points in a parlay I had with the USC and MSU, Michigan State University, go over 34-0. A team who's favored by 7 points gets shut out by 34 points. How is that predictable? How do I see that coming? And going into Sunday, we'll touch upon some games that I don't care what handicapper is out there. There's nobody predicting some of these outcomes. Just not, I don't care what Instagram account you're watching, what phone number you're calling, what payphone you're calling from for these 1-800 numbers that you're paying for. There are some games and the outcomes that occurred on Sunday that nobody's seen coming. All right, and we'll get into that right now. So Week 3, some of the standout situations where I got spanked, where I took that the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots would go over the mark of 42.5. This game ends 21-14. This was, I think, 14-14 at halftime. Or it was 14-7, something like that. But all I know is that the New England Patriots turned the ball over 5 times. 5 times. A professional football team fumbles, gets picked off, whatever way to turn the ball over 5 times in a single game. 2 of those on the 1 yard line, or at least the 1 or second yard line. It's unthinkable. So there goes, pisses away another payout there. I'll tell you right now, the Atlanta Falcons getting shut out 30-0 by the Carolina Panthers. There is nobody's seen that coming. How can you possibly look at the data? How can you analyze looking at past performance, looking at the two teams coming off of Week 2 where Atlanta absolutely precisionally runs the ball over Minnesota, squeaks out a win there, but comfortably in control, both on the defensive side and the offensive side. Carolina getting shellacked by the Arizona Cardinals, making a late comeback, but at the end of the day, they do a Carolina Panther thing and that's lose. Host the Atlanta Falcons and shut them out. Shut them out. And this was like a play for me that was an in-game play, thinking, well, Falcons are down 7-0. This is a blip on the radar. There's good value. There's plus money. Oh, don't worry, I'll just parlay this with later on the Cowboys, which is its own problem in itself. And it just kept getting worse, worse, and worse. Michael Penix is eventually pulled for Kirk Cousins, but Penix will remain the starter. Nobody's seen this coming. Disgusting by the Falcons. And just this tells you how unpredictable football can be at most times. So that was ugly. But most sports bettors, most professional gamblers are going to talk about the Rams, Eagles, and many of the sharps, the experts, were laying 3.5 with the Rams. So that, it came upon the Rams, before it came upon a field goal at the end there, the Rams had a big lead heading into the third quarter. Eagles chip away, eventually come back. Rams set up shop to kick a field goal, which would put them up 1. But you know what? The sharps don't care. If they had the Rams plus 3.5, missed field goal, who cares? The Rams lose and cover the spread. Doesn't matter. Instead, blocked field goal, run back for a touchdown. Many are saying one of the worst beats in a long time. Definitely the worst bad beat so far in the 2025 season. There is a lot of people that most likely, how do you call it? Like maybe lost their house, lost their mortgage on that particular game. So I'm sorry for you, for your loss, everybody out there, but that's the reality of sports gambling. Green Bay killed many survivor pool folks out there, blowing a 10-0 lead in the fourth quarter. The Cleveland Browns come back to tie it up. Green Bay sets up for a winning field goal. McMahon is ready to kick it. Green Bay is blocked. Browns block it. Joey Flacco leads the team down the field. Kick the winning field goal. And many of you who are listening to this podcast, and there are millions, are out of your survivor pool. Thank God, I took the Seahawks because they handled the New Orleans Saints pretty easily. What a joke game that was. The Seahawks absolutely beating down the Saints 44-13. This was 14-0 very quickly. This was very safe, a survivor pool pick. So thank God I picked the Seattle Seahawks. Bears dismantle the Dallas Cowboys. There is red flags everywhere when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. They didn't even sniff Caleb Williams at all. They let him deal back there. No pressure, because guess who folds under pressure? Caleb Williams of the Bears. He folds under pressure. And guess who the Cowboys had that would have been the perfect fit to provide that pressure? Michael Parsons. No longer with the Cowboys. Didn't want to pay him. Sent him off to Green Bay. Now they have no pass rush whatsoever, and they got lit up. 1-2 Cowboys. And the Chiefs sent the Giants packing, and most importantly sent Russell Wilson packing. He's going to be riding the bench. Jackson Dart, first round pick of the Giants, will be the number 1 going forward. Rookie quarterback in New York, leading the charge for the Giants. Scattaboo, running back, will be the tandem, 2 rookies and 2 big profile offensive positions. We'll see how that plays out. But I don't think it's going to play out well for Brian Daboll. He's not going to. I can't see him saving his job. Even if Jackson Dart starts to develop, I think it's time to move on from that for sure as a head coach. And I'm going to throw this out here. And you hit me up on Overrated, EXPER2 on X for Overrated Experience. And that is watching the Lions on Monday night win 38-30. Pound for pound, they have the most entertaining offense, easy on the eyes offense to watch in the NFL. Yes, when you go to Baltimore, You do have the flashiness of, let's say, a Lamar Jackson, let's say a Derrick Henry in his powerful runs, for 30, 40-yard chunks. You have Jaden Daniels in Washington, who's exciting. You have Josh Allen, who's lights out in Buffalo. But when you watch this Lions offense, you got the 1-2 punch of Montgomery and Gibbs in the backfield. You got the Laporta, tight end. St. Brown in the receiving core is outstanding. Jared Goff is a drop back, quick throwing quarterback, exciting to watch. The game plan they come out with either is a combination of smashing you in the mouth by running the ball, trickery, gutsy calls on fourth down. Dan Campbell, putting up a middle finger basically to the public who questioned that he wouldn't survive necessarily without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, his offensive and defensive coordinators from last year who've left, and additional coaches that have also left the staff for other opportunities. Well, he gave a big fuck you to everybody out there because that team looked fantastic, exciting. And am I a Lions fan? No. Am I a Dan Campbell Lions fan because I want to watch them in primetime television? You're absolutely right. That they have a lethal offense, exciting offense, and when you compare it to what you watched, on the Sunday nighter with the New York Giants, not even close. Not even the same stratosphere as the Detroit Lions offense. The creativity, the preparation, the planning, the risk, it's outstanding. Enjoy the Lions, and I consider them the number one entertaining offense in the NFL. So, I'm going to talk a little CFL here. The CFL, for you folks that don't know who are listening outside of Canada, is called the Canadian Football League. It's been around for over 100 years, older than the NFL. A lot of tradition here in Canada. What stands out in the CFL is different rules, different field dimensions, even a different size ball. 3 downs versus 4 downs, 110-yard field versus 100, wider field. All those kind of things that are unique to Canadian football. There's 9 teams. There's not 32 like in the NFL, but there's 9 teams, many of which have been around for over 100 years. Now, the announcement on Monday was that some changes to be incorporated over the next 2 seasons, not this season, but the following season, include shrinking the field of play from 110 yards to 100 yards, shrinking the end zones from 20 to 15 yards, also moving the goalpost from the front, where the beginning of the end zone on the goal line, that's where the uprights are, the field goal uprights today are. They will, probably in 2 years, that change will take place, and it will be moved to the back, similar to the NFL. Benches, right now in the CFL, they're both on the same side. So it's not like the NFL where they're opposite, but it will change to opposite. There's going to be a 35-second running clock, play clock, which is different than today, where there's a 20-second play clock that starts on the referee whistle, which probably slows things down a lot. And that's a lot of the Rouge. The Rouge. If you haven't heard of the Rouge, it's a single point. And a lot of American media picked up on that the Argos won a game recently, the Toronto Argos beating the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a tie game that was won because of a missed field goal that went out of the end zone, which counts today as a single point. Sounds weird, but that's how it's always been. That Rouge, that 1 point, will change to only be awarded to a team if the offensive player, let's say, receives a punt or a kickoff and has to kneel or gets tackled in the end zone. That's the only time that the point will be awarded, not when the punt rolls out of the end zone or the field goal is missed and rolls out of the end zone. That will no longer add a point for that team. So, I think it's about 50-50 what I'm hearing. I personally think these are interesting, creative, and rules that I find very interesting. The Canadian Football League still maintains 3-down football. It's not 4 downs like the NFL. The width of the field is still the same size it is today, which is much larger than the NFL field width-wise. Just outside of that, it's like the ball's the same. There's actually even what's going to remain the same. There's a quota of Canadian players that need to be on each team's rosters. So I feel that it hasn't lost its Canadian feel with the announcement of these new rules and changes, etc. I think they're enhancements, improvements, and excited to see what can happen when these rules get implemented and the field configuration gets changed. So if you didn't think you were going to hear some CFL information, you're wrong, because you just did. Moving on to the Thursday Nighter, which you're all here about, and what do you want to hear what I have to say, not shockingly, is we have a matchup between the Seattle Seahawks, Arizona Cardinals in Arizona, divisional matchup. The Cardinals are 2-1, while the Seahawks are 2-1. So it's a very big game between these two teams in this division. 49ers, of course, are 3-0. So they're chasing the 49ers and the Rams, who are 2-1 as well. So very, very critical game here. Now, the interesting part about the spread here is it's flipped. So the Cardinals, at the start of the week, came in as the 1.5-point favorites. Now it's flipped. The Seahawks are 1.5-point favorites heading into this game. Most likely James Conner's news, running back for the Arizona Cardinals, that he's out. He's out for the whole season. He's done. Ankle surgery. Big loss for the Cardinals. And I think really affected the line here. So looking at these two squads, have I been impressed by Arizona? Not really. I mean, they've still got issues with Marvin Harrison Jr. dropping easy receptions, hindering the team. They lose their top running back. Tight end McBride is outstanding. But I think they are coming in a little bit banged up, obviously, for the Cardinals. Everything's leaning toward the Seahawks in this one. So give me the Seahawks. Give me Sam Darnold and the Seahawks. They're on a roll right now, smacking the New Orleans Saints big time. They'll cover the 1.5. I was tempted to look at the over-under of 43.5 and say, this is going to be like a 2017 game. And then I thought, what do I want more? I think there's going to be a little bit of an explosion here. I think Kyler Murray's going to have to go to the air a little more. He's going to have to keep the ball in his hands. He's going to have to use his feet. I think that will spur some offense. The Seahawks have been putting up points in their last two games against Pittsburgh and New Orleans. I don't think that changes. So I like the over 43.5 to be covered there. Now we get into player props. I got three that I like heading into this game. Now that is the main guy, the main receiver for the Seattle Seahawks, Jackson Smith-Njigba. He has been the massively favorite receiver of Sam Darnold. And I like his over-under for receiving yards over 84.5 minus 114. He is crushing it right now. 100-plus last game against the Saints. He is the guy. He is the main guy. And let me add in, let me double down on the Njigba props here. I like Njigba's over longest reception, over 25.5 yards. Right now, over 3 games to kick off the year, his longest reception has been 40-plus each of these 3 first games. So I like 25.5. He's a target. He's an impact player. And you would have heard more of him if he wasn't playing in Seattle. But he is a beast. So watch out. And those are good value plays from the Overrated Experience. And the last one, player prop, I got Kyler Murray, rushing yards, 27.5 over. He's been plus 30 yards each of his 3 games. I don't think it goes down. I think it goes up without James Conner. I think the pass rush for Seattle will at least allow 1 or 2 times where they do not get to him, where he breaks it open for a lengthy run. And I think the Cardinals will be in a situation where, unlike the last 3 games, 2 of which they've been leading, 3 of which it's been a tight game with the 49ers, that they will be in a chase scenario where they probably have to put up points, more points, maybe have to get a touchdown versus just getting a field goal range. So I like the idea of Kyler Murray putting the ball on the ground. So is Kyler Murray going to be taking off using his feet? And you guys like your same game parlays, your SGPs, which I have to warn you are not the best thing to do in sports gambling. You're giving the book what they want. If you've noticed and if you've read up on your sports gaming industry news, many of the topics where the sports books are trying to push more and more same game parlays, they're trying to fuck you with the odds in the same game parlay. If you've noticed, it sometimes when you're picking selections, and this is me speaking using FanDuel, that sometimes they make a prop that is available. Suddenly it's not available because you can't configure these picks together. What's up with that? And I haven't sat down and did the math, but some of the choices you make that have better odds in your favor, but you add or take out, the total amount you're going to win doesn't make sense. So keep an eye out for that. You're kind of getting screwed with the same game parlay, but let's do it anyway. So here's my 3-leg same game parlay. I'm always going to give you even money or more. So this is more around the even money portion of it. So take Njigba, wide receiver, Seattle Seahawks, alternative receiving yards, 60 plus, 60 or more. Then put in Seattle alternative line, alternative spread, which I'll put Seattle as plus 6.5. So as long as they don't lose by 6.5, and remember, they're a 1.5 point favorite, and the game to go over 34.5. $100 will pay you $106. I think there's some good value there. I think it's a very, very good same game parlay that's going to hit on Thursday night. Well, until Thursday night, we're going to shut her down. Pleasure's all been yours. The Overrated Experience. You can be followed on X at Overrated EXP. Overrated EXP Era 2. I expect you to sign up, follow. Let's go. Remember, going to drop another podcast to look at the rest of the games on the weekend, either Friday or Saturday. So be ready for that. So let's go. Let's get some wins. Let's get to the window. Let's get paid out. Pleasure's been yours. The Overrated Experience is over and out.